Good morning, everybody. Keith Engel for TGI Sports Talk. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday morning. It's a little bit of an overcast, crisp day here in East Greenbush, New York. I hope you all had a great Christmas holiday, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or whatever celebration you choose to celebrate at this time of year. I hope you had a great, joyous time with your friends and family, and were safe in doing so. So I want to welcome everybody, as always. I want to thank the groups that I'll share this to later. Again, if I've shared it to your group, there will be content for you. And I want to thank the viewers that do watch this. We've had a great following, and I love the chatter we have with our regulars internally. So I welcome them this morning as well. Again, I hope you had a great holiday, no matter which one you celebrate. One quick announcement before we get started, and I'll probably announce it again at the end of the show. I want to let you guys know that TGI Sports Talk will be joining we're going into a venture called Northeast Streaming Sports, along with some other shows. It will still be broadcasting independently like we are now, but I'll just be sharing the shows to Northeast Streaming Sports, which will be our new network. It's a brainchild of Mac from Mac and Jack Sports, who I guest with from time to time. So it'll be my show, TGI Sports Talk, Mac and Jack Sports, Fantasy Football Face Off, Four Stripes on Ice. What else? Sports Scope. I said TGI Sports Talk. I think there's a couple others I'm missing here. Pop Culture Pros, and the Safety and the Sports Writer. Those are the shows that have joined thus far. I expect many, many others to join as we go forward in this venture. So nothing will change. We'll still do our shows here. Again, as I talk about many, many times, if I find some time in my schedule, which is kind of tight with my real job, and until this one starts paying a lot more money, or any, we're going to be keeping that job for the foreseeable future, probably until I retire in a few years. So anyway, welcome, everybody, welcome, and hope you had a great Christmas holiday, as I said, or whichever holiday you do celebrate, whether it be Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or any other holiday of your choice. Good morning, Rick Sherlock. Good to see you this morning. Hopefully Billy will be joining us in a little bit. I don't think Drew will be with us today, but I do have Drew's picks, which I'll either do as we go along later, or I will fill them in later. We'll talk about that as we go forward. One thing I do want to touch on quickly, a couple of things I want to touch on quickly. We're going to start with college sports, as we have college football, that is. You know, we'll be winding down the football season. I want to talk a little bit about the Final Four. I've talked about it ad nauseum now, probably, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but we will talk about that. We'll talk about the few bowl games that I have any interest in, which is why I think there needs to be a playoff, or can be a playoff. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about the Heisman race a bit. And I think I'm going to do a vlog on the Heisman, so I may not dive as deep into it this morning as I wanted to, but we could possibly dive into it a little bit further. We'll talk a little bit about some coaching changes in the NCAA, and then we'll move on to the NFL. Lots of stuff going on everywhere. Bowl season in the college football, coaching changes, Heisman Trophy, and we also have the NFL coming down to the wire in the playoffs. Very few spots left. There's still some jockeying for position, but there's very few spots left. And if there's other topics that you guys want to cover this morning as I go along, first the college football, then pro football, certainly jump in at any point and let me know what you're thinking about, what you want to chat about. If you got questions, throw them up. So let's talk about the Final Four in the NCAA first. Obviously, we've got more of the same. Alabama, Clemson, which seems like, you know, the 20th year in a row that they've been in it, although we've only been doing this since 2012. I think they've been there quite a few times, probably 6 times at the same time. So Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame a bit controversially, but look at if you're only going to take 4 teams, that's the problem to start with. I can't make an argument that these aren't the best 4 teams in the country, to be honest with you right now. I do think Cincinnati and the AAC again get screwed here, as I've talked about before. You people who are talking up Texas A&M or where's my bowl rankings here? Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got a better argument to me than Texas A&M. Texas A&M didn't go. If you're going to take 4 teams, Texas A&M has got no claim to get in there. They didn't even go to their conference championship game. Cannot be in the Final Four. Cannot be. Oklahoma had 2 losses, but won their conference. I could make an argument that they belong there over Notre Dame with 1 loss, I guess. But again, the problem is the 4 teams. Expand to 8. Expand to 16. You guys look at my vlog from a few weeks ago. I think I put up a very good argument for 16-team playoff, 10 conference champions, 6 at-large teams. We wouldn't have this argument. And you wouldn't have 4 lost teams. People are worried about 4 lost teams getting in. You could have some if they won their conference championship, but they'd probably go out. People put up an argument, and I've seen when I've posted these vlogs that, colleges can't play 16 games. Well, first of all, I wouldn't ask them to play 16 games. I would cut back on the regular season. They don't need to play 12 games. They could play 10, and we could do away with some of these bowl games that nobody goes to. I mean, it's a COVID situation this year, but gosh, there's teams that are, we'll talk about it in a second, but there's teams that are under 500 in bowl games. Ugh. And even with no COVID, you got 5-5 teams there. Who wants to watch those games? There's nobody in the stands. TV is the only reason those games exist, because they pay money to the conferences for the teams that get there. You can make use of those bowl games. The bowls don't have to go away. Some of them can. Do we need a Pinstripe Bowl? Do we need just throw one out here. Do we need a Duke's Mayo Bowl? Keep the Cotton Bowl, keep the Orange Bowl, keep the Fiesta Bowl, keep even the Peach Bowl. I'm trying to think of some others that have been around a while. The Alamo Bowl. You could keep a lot of these and put them into the playoff system, right? And your semifinals could still be 2 of the bigger bowl games, the Rose Bowl. They could rotate that like they do now between the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl, I guess. But guys, come on, let's play some meaningful football games. And the argument that there's another argument I get all the time. They can't play all those games. Well, first of all, they wouldn't play that many more. They can't miss class time. They're not in class during this time of year anyway. There's a lot of downtime in December. There's meaningless bowl games, as I said. What was the other argument that I got all the time? It would water down the regular season and games would be meaningless. Well, games are meaningless anyway. What did Notre Dame and Clemson ACC championship game, what did it mean? It meant nothing at the end of the day. They both got in. It's a meaningless game in my mind. So, again, it would not water down the regular season. It would make the regular season more important. More important. You get an automatic bye if you win your conference championship. So you got to get there to be assured of getting in. And now the arguments at least will be down the road of, the 16th, if you went 16 teams, 15 and 16. If you start arguing that you aren't in a playoff at 16, well, then, you don't have an argument at all in my mind. And then you can seed them accordingly. Are the Coastal Carolinas of the world going to beat Alabama in a playoff? I don't know. I will tell you that, leagues like the AAC would. I think that, again, I've talked that league up all year. I think it's very strong. There's talk that Boise State's going to join that league. In fact, their coach ended up leaving and going to Auburn because of some changes he couldn't get made at Boise State. They don't like playing in a Mountain West. They know they aren't going to get a chance to play for a national championship. So again, look at there's some changes could be made, make this happen. We are where we are. I'm not going to talk about it anymore today. But again, in my mind, Cincinnati's the team that gets screwed here. They should have been that fourth team in my mind. With that said, I'll be picking the semifinals here in a little bit. I'm gonna pick some bowl games. I don't care about a lot of bowl games. We're in the middle of bowl season now. Who cares? There's been one bowl game played that I even care about. I mean, good grief. If there's one you want to talk about, certainly speak up. But if you're watching these bowl games and you think that this is riveting football, God, it's been like unwatchable. Congratulations to Buffalo. On a regional basis, they're semi-local here. It's only a few hours away. 5 hours away. But they win. They beat a very good Marshall team in something called the Camellia Bowl. Do we need that bowl? Buffalo and Marshall both would have been in my playoff. They would have played a much more meaningful game. These other games don't even mean anything. Good grief. The only game I really had any interest in was last night, something called the Cure Bowl. The Cure Bowl? What is that? Anyway, there was a great matchup in that game in Liberty and Coastal Carolina. Went to overtime, 37-34. Coastal got behind significantly in this game, or behind most of the game, and made a great run in the fourth quarter. It was a really fun game to watch. You don't often see these things end with a field goal in the first overtime, but that's what happened here. Liberty won the game 37-34. So it's the only bowl game of whatever that have been played. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a bunch canceled, by the way, too. I don't know if I've got them on the list here, but we'll talk about them quickly. I don't really care. I just don't. So we got some bowl games coming up that I have any interest in. Jeez, not too many. There's a few. Actually, there's some good games this week. There's some good matchups. The Cheez-It Bowl. I don't know what that is. What's the Cheez-It Bowl? Anyway, you got a good matchup with Oklahoma State and my Miami Hurricanes. I'm gonna predict some winners here. I'm not looking at point spreads or anything. I'll just throw some winners out here. Some games that interest me. The Alamo Bowl, sponsored by Valero. They've all got a sponsor. It's a good matchup, Texas and Colorado. I think that'll be a fun game. These games are on the 29th, by the way. On the 30th, you've got something called the Duke Mayo Bowl. Nobody cares. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina, Wake Forest, and Wisconsin. Are you kidding me? These teams this is what we should be watching this weekend instead of meaningful games leading up to a real national champion. No. Give me a playoff. Iowa and Missouri in the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. That bowl could survive, I suppose, but, who cares? Oklahoma and Florida. There's a fun game in a Cotton Bowl. That game is going to be December 30th. All these games I just mentioned were December 30th. That should be a fun game in Arlington. Worth watching. I didn't pick any winners in these games. That's all right. This will be the first one I pick a winner because I don't really care about the other games. I'll pick Florida over Oklahoma, by the way. Although Oklahoma's playing some great football right now. The Armed Forces Bowl, which seems odd that one of the Armed Forces don't play in this bowl. You'd think they would naturally have a tie-in to this game. Whoever wins the Commander-in-Chief trophy would have this. That would be Army. Army did make it to a bowl game, by the way, in a roundabout way. They had accepted a bid, really. I think they might have been the first team to accept a bid to a bowl, to the Independence Bowl, and it was canceled. So they were without a bowl game, but they have jumped into one here. The Liberty Bowl, I think they took the place of, can't remember who dropped out of this. It's not coming to me, but they are playing West Virginia, which will be fun. I want to see how Army matches up with one of these Power 5 teams. So again, that should be a fun game. That'll be on the New Year's Eve. You've also got Tulsa, Mississippi State. How does Mississippi State get in a bowl game? Again, we're watching Tulsa, Mississippi State. When we may have been watching, Tulsa could have been in that large, I suppose, in my system, but I doubt it. Ball State and San Jose State in the Arizona Bowl. San Jose State's a great story this year, but I don't care. Arkansas and TCU. Nobody cares. Peach Bowl. Now we'll get to some games I care about. Cincinnati, my aforementioned team, I guess I mentioned weekly, that has really gotten screwed in this whole sordid affair, gets a chance at one of the big boys, one of the Power 5 teams on January 1st, on New Year's Eve, on New Year's Day Bowl, the Peach Bowl, against Georgia. In Atlanta, Georgia gets a little advantage there. They played at this stadium before, many times before. But I guess to back up my bluster, I'm taking Cincinnati to beat Georgia in that game. We'll see where my money goes later. I'll fill you in on that later. Oh, gosh. Oh, where was I? Sorry. Auburn, Northwestern, the Citrus Bowls. Northwestern's been a good story this year. Auburn does not have a good team. I don't know how they're playing in a New Year's Day bowl game, and Florida's not. Again, they've got to do away with some of these. Okay, the fourth best team in the ACC is guaranteed a spot in whatever bowl. Do away with that stuff. Let's go to a 16-team playoff. Anyway, I'll pick Northwestern to win that game. And in January, also on, New Year's Day, you also have the Rose Bowl, which is now being played in Arlington because of COVID, which I don't even think they're calling it the Rose Bowl, which is a shame. But you're going to get Alabama, number 1, against number 4 Notre Dame, one of the first semifinal game. That game will be 4 o'clock on the 1st, so we won't talk before then, at least in this format. I'm going to take, just because I want chaos, I'm taking Notre Dame to pull a major upset here. Alabama's probably going to kill them, but I'm going to take Notre Dame. It's the only thing I root for. I root for dogs in these situations a lot. And then you've got Clemson and Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl that night. I can't not pick against Clemson. Dabo Swinney is one of the best coaches in the country, if not the best coach. He has done what he's done with that program is remarkable. It's just been a fun run for them. They're in the hunt every year, and they'll be in the hunt next year. Trevor Lawrence leaving is not leaving a cupboard bare there, that's for sure. So I'm going to take Clemson over Ohio State here, only because I got some issues, as other people do, with Ohio State even being in this game, but because of the number of games they played. But I think you'll see you'll see them exposed in that game. And listen, the games that are played after January 1st, I don't even care about. Again, who cares? We can play these games after January 1st, after we've played the semifinal games, but we can't get real games leading up to a real championship game in. We can't fit. How many games is it? If I went to 16 teams, 16, 8, 4 games. 4 games, that's it. Cut the regular season down to 10 or 11 games. Get rid of the meaningless bowl games, so they'll play an extra game, or maybe 2. So what? Let's have a real national champion. What do you say? All right. The Heisman. Anything else I missed here? Yeah, there's lots I want to talk about. I don't want to spend forever on college football today. We'll dive into the NFL. Let's talk about college Heisman. I'm going to do a vlog on this later in the week, I think. But you've got your finalists have been announced: Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Devontae Smith, Kyle Trask. Quarterbacks have had a stranglehold on this position. I don't think anybody's running back has won since. I want to say since Alabama running back. Oh boy, how can his name be escaping me? This is terrible. Doesn't really matter. He's playing for the Ravens now. Help me out, Rick. Mark Ingram. Sorry. Yes, Ingram. He, I believe, was the last non-quarterback to win. And there hasn't been a wide receiver win. Devontae Smith is in the final 4. Hasn't been a wide receiver win since 1999. That was Desmond Howard. Actually, 1992. Sorry, made Desmond a little younger than he is. You're welcome, Desmond. 3 running backs have won in the last 20 years since 2000. 3 running backs, all quarterbacks. 17 years out of 20 quarterbacks have won this award. And I'll dive into this a little deeper in my vlog because, I mean, there was a run before that where running backs won every year. I think and I'll have some more solid numbers, I guess, in the vlog, but I think it was, I want to say, 72 to 81 or 72 to 83. I think it's 72 to 83. Running backs won 11 straight times. I know the game has changed, but still, there's some great running backs out there that deserve an opportunity. Hell, Najee Harry finished 5th in the voting. Justin Fields finished 7th. The rest are quarterbacks. Zach Wilson's 8th. Ian Book finished 9th. Not a bad finish for him to get in the top 10. What am I doing up so early? I gotta start sharing you guys a little post here. Hold on a second, Billy. I think I can get my mouse working. Lost my mouse. There it is. Here we go. What am I doing up so early? Bill, I'm not an old guy like you. I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, man. I love the morning. Interesting, the tight end from Florida finished 10th. He's the first tight end to finish in the top 10 since 1977. I probably did say hell. I said screw earlier, too. I'm getting terrible, right? Hope the FCC doesn't track us down here. Put the phone number up just in case anybody wants to call today. So let's finish up. I'm done there. Here's my prediction. I think Harris, Jones, and Devontae Smith from Alabama probably may have hurt each other. May allow Trevor Lawrence to get in there, and he may win. I don't think it's going to be Kyle Trask, but especially be off of their last couple games, his last couple games. But although he played really well against Florida, I shouldn't really say that. But he had a couple rough outings before that. I think Devontae Smith is going to pull this off, get a win for the wide receivers for the first time since the early 90s, and Desmond Howard. So we'll leave it at that. Unless you guys might got more you want to chat about there. I lost my comments here. Hold on. Billy got me all. Billy doesn't want me to view our post. Aha! You want to stay anonymous, Bill Pulver. Well, now I got you. Anyway, not to leave Rick Sherlock out. Good morning. So anyway, good morning, Billy. It's good to see you here. I'm glad. I'm always glad when you can make it into the room. I love the spirited back and forth that we do end up with. So thank you for that. Some other coaching college football news. Jed Fish has gone to Arizona as a new head coach. Kevin Sulin was fired. Jed was the New England Patriots quarterback coach most recently. He's had a long career as an assistant. Illinois hired Bet Bielema, who's coached previously at Wisconsin and Arkansas. Was recently on the Giants staff. He spent about 10 minutes on the Patriots staff here a year ago. Louisiana Monroe hires Terry Bowden, a blast from the past, Florida Auburn coach. Gosh, 20 years ago, Bobby Bowden's son. Auburn hired Byron Harrison from Boise State. As I said earlier, he wanted out. He wanted some changes at Boise. He wanted some improvements to their facilities. He wanted to move leagues because he's very unhappy with the Mountain West. And from what I hear, he was pushing to get to the AAC, which would have really been a bump for that league. Boise State, well, they haven't been as up recently as they've been in years past. they've still got a good program there, and they've had some really good success the last 15 years. Butch Jones gets another chance. Former coach at Tennessee and Cincinnati, very successful at Cincinnati, not so much at Tennessee. He'll get the job at Arkansas State, and then I think there's the only open position that leaves in FBS division is Boise State right now. Although the Northwestern job could come open, as Pat Fitzgerald is going to be very highly ranked and very highly considered for some of the NFL positions. And then there's the Jim Harbaugh situation in Michigan. I still think he will leave of his own volition, but we'll see about that. I still think he will find his way back to the NFL this year. We'll see how that happens. I guess that's it. We'll wrap up our college coverage there. I mean, we got a few more weeks to go. Obviously, next week we'll be chatting about the semifinal games. We'll dive maybe a little bit more into the Heisman. The Heisman won't be announced until January 5th. Of course, it will not be the normal gathering of all the former, I should say, well, some of them are old, the former Heisman winners because of COVID. But there will be a virtual ceremony on the 5th of January. And again, I am going out on a limb and saying Devontae Smith somehow, even though he's probably split the vote with his teammates, will win this close over Trevor Lawrence. With that said, Trevor Lawrence is probably a given. So, what do I know? All right, guys, let's jump into the NFL, shall we? We're done with this. Get this out of my way. I'll need that another day. The NFL. Last week we had let's just look at the scoreboard quickly from last week, see what kind of stands. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I'd be remiss, before I leave the college situation, I'd be remiss to say that there was a horrible incident with the Pac-10 rookie freshman of the year, Ty Jones from Utah, accidentally shot himself and killed himself this week. At least all signs point to it being an accident. So let's, again, it's an awful tragedy. A young man loses his life. Ty Jordan, I'm sorry. I said Ty Jones. Ty Jordan, 19 years old. At least everything I've read, this was somehow he had a gun and accidentally discharged, and unfortunately he lost his life in that incident. So very sad. Our condolences go out to his family and the Utah program, and it's a sad thing to happen around the holidays, but these things happen. Firearms are a dangerous thing, and we have to respect them for sure. So very important lesson to be learned there. Okay. We'll bring it back up to the NFL. Let's see. I lost my place here. Let me get back to where I was. Wanted to look at the. Oh my gosh, my internet's dragging this morning. So let's look at some of the scores from last week and see if there's any big surprises. We've also got 4 games that have already played this year. So. Well, now I'm in the NBA. We'll have to start talking about the NBA a little bit soon, guys. I don't know how you guys probably aren't huge NBA fans. I may do separate shows. I don't know yet. But once we run, I got to run into baseball. I have football bumping up against baseball and NCAA basketball and NBA basketball. And we'll figure out how we're going to do all that. I may add a show. I've talked about that for weeks. I haven't found a time to really do it, but we'll see how we do it going forward. We're going to run out of time to talk about football soon enough, unfortunately. Last week, guys, not a lot of surprises. The Thursday last week, the Bucks continue to. Well, the Bucks. We'll talk about them twice. The Buccaneers won last week and also demolished the Lions yesterday on the road. Put Billy's comment up here. We'll go backwards a little bit. Yes, Archie Griffin, only 2-time winner of the Heisman Trophy. Some say I'm deserving one of those times, but I'm not one of those guys. Anyway, let's get back to where we were here. Week 6. Oh, gosh. See what you did, Bill? You got me off where I was. I had the right screen up, and I lost it. All right. We're talking about the Buccaneers. They demolished the Lions yesterday, won last week. They're still not. The Saints have clinched the division, but the Bucs clinch a playoff spot for the first time since 2007. We've talked. I'm not on the Patriots, Bill. Comes to Patriots hour. I'm talking about the Buccaneers. My gosh, first time since 2007 they won the. They won the. It made a playoff spot, I should say. We'll see. Maybe they've righted the ship. Maybe they've corrected their problems. Interestingly enough, Bruce Arians is out defending Tom Brady these days. He caused most of the criticism himself anyway. But they both deserve what they get. They chose each other. What else? The Raiders have effectively, they're officially eliminated from the playoff contention. Second year in a row, they've been solidly in position to make the playoffs and implode. Last night's game, since we're talking about them, I'll talk about last week's game. They blow against the Chargers in overtime. Last night was just a debacle. They went back and forth. The last 2 minutes was unbelievable. If you didn't watch the game, the lead changed hands like 3 times in the last 2 minutes. And John Gruden, on a second to last possession of the game, for some reason, he thinks he made the right decision. He's still backing it today. He's not apologizing for it. He decided not to score a touchdown and run as much time off the clock as he could. If he scored a touchdown, he's going to force the Raiders to score a touchdown when they get the ball back. But he decides not to do that. He instructs Jacobs to not score. Then he runs the clock out and kicks a field goal. What happens? Miami quickly goes down the field, kicks a field goal, Raiders lose. Raiders did cover, by the way. We'll get to that later. I don't know. I don't know. The problem with the Raiders is maybe it's John Gruden. Maybe that $100 million is not getting well spent. Anyway, we talked about the Bills. The Bills are right now the second best team in the AFC for sure. I'll run down that a little bit. I'm just looking at the games from last week. If there's anything else we want to chat about. Cowboys righted the ship. I'm going to talk about them in a second. I think the Cowboys, I'll talk about them right now. I think the Cowboys are going to win out and win the NFC East. I think the Giants and the Redskins will both lose twice. The Cowboys will win twice, which is the only way the Cowboys can get in. And I think they'll win that division. A lot to be said. Redskins can really lock it up today with a win and a Giants loss. So I'm going out on a limb saying the Cowboys will still find a way to pull that out. Okay. Oh, where were we? The Titans rolled again last week. I'll tell you what, the Titans are playing some great football, and they got a big game today in Green Bay. The Titans are really good, and I would say they're probably maybe neck and neck with Buffalo for the second best team in the AFC right now. Pittsburgh's absolutely imploding. They lose to the Bengals 27-17 Monday night. Awful. Ben Roethlisberger cannot throw the ball down the field. And, it's just gotten really ugly. It's gotten very, very ugly in Pittsburgh. They went from 11-0 to now they're 11-3. May lose the division, depending what happens with the Browns. The Browns got some big problems of their own today with no wide receivers playing, really, due to COVID. Last week, the Colts continue to roll. They just continue to defy me. I think I might have picked them last week, but again, I'm not a believer in Phillip Rivers, but here they go. The Dolphins beat the Patriots. Nobody wants to talk about that game. Again, Patriots were just atrocious on offense. A little better play from Cam Newton, but the running game couldn't get it going. They were just run all over by the Miami run game. It was ugly. It was not even as close as a score in my mind. Patriots were ahead 6-0 at the half, and That was about the extent of what they could do. And again, still Stidham's not playing this week. Do we not need to find out whether he can play or not? I think we do. Maybe he'll start. Maybe he'll play during the game. I don't know. Bears suddenly alive again. The Bears at 7-7, and with the Cardinals losing yesterday, the Bears have a chance to move into that last playoff spot, I believe, with a victory today, or in a position to be in line to get that last playoff spot if they win today. The Seahawks broke the Washington Redskins winning streak, 20-15 in Washington. The Ravens have suddenly caught fire again, and they're 9-5 and fighting for that last playoff spot. The Jets, we all know what the Jets did last week, don't we, Bill? Trevor Lawrence, right down the drain. Players play to win. I get it. Teams don't want to tank. I don't even think teams should tank. I want my team to win all the time. But I think it's, it's typical of the Jets to kind of screw this up. We'll talk a little bit about their situation going forward. What else? That game we covered. Good, fun game in New Orleans last week with the Chiefs and the Ravens, the Saints. Chiefs pulled that game out 32-29. A lot of points scored in the fourth quarter. 25 points scored in the fourth quarter. Back and forth. Saints played Drew Brees, who wasn't 100%, didn't play awful, but he was obviously, hampered, I think, by those ribs still. So that still bears watching here. Let's see, what did Billy say here? Billy's actually glad they won. Jets kicker makes horse tackle. Horse tackle? And he's actually glad they won. Well, you know what? Nobody wants to go winless. It's a very dubious distinction. Yes, you want to get Trevor Lawrence. I'm not sure the Jaguars won't screw up and lose somewhere the next 2 weeks, or win somewhere, sorry, where winning would be losing. And the Browns really hurt the Giants season last week by winning 20-6. The Giants are in a bit of trouble. So we'll jump from there to the standings. Before I jump to the standings, I just have to mention, we talked about the Redskins. We talked about Pittsburgh. The Redskins lose. Haskins gets a chance to redeem himself for not playing well early in the year. And with Alex Smith's injury. And he celebrates the victory by going out to a club, no mask, no anything. Really? Juju Smith goes out before the game against the Bengals and dances on their logo at midfield. Don't worry about firing up a team who's got nothing to play for, Juju. You can't fix stupid in this league, and there's too many guys who are just tone deaf. Dwayne Haskins? Come on. You're out in public at a club without a mask? Crazy. Sorry, I said the Redskins. How many times did I say the Redskins, actually? Maybe we should make that a drinking game. The team formerly known as the Redskins. I think Haskins is out. They're hoping Alex Smith can play today. I mean, I don't see how. The Redskins cannot keep this guy going forward, I don't think. Come on. You got to be smarter than that. And Juju Smith's a great player. But you know what? You're struggling. Just go out and get a win. You fired up a Bengal team that didn't have anything to play for, and you gave them something to play for. Stupid. Guys are nuts. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. What else is going on? Let's go back to the standings. So Buffalo's pretty much wrapped up. They definitely wrapped up the division. For the first time in God knows how many years. They got a great welcome home last week from their fans. You know what? It might have been a strip club, Rick. I'm not sure. It's possible it was a strip club. I may have misread the story. I just said nightclub, but maybe I was trying to clean it up. I don't know. Either way, whatever he's doing, it was stupid. God. I will say this. Great job out of the Bills fans. I don't particularly care for the Bills. Or their fans are kind of rough. You're about to a game there and rooted against the Bills. It can be a rough place to be. People talk about Philadelphia. You want to go to Buffalo and wear your gear. But good job out of them welcoming the thousands of fans welcoming the Bills back after winning their first division title in, longer than some of your kids have been alive. We know the Patriots are out of it. Dolphins with a nice win yesterday, given to them by John Gruden, pretty much have solidified a playoff spot. Not quite. They're not there yet. They got one game to go, and they're gonna be. I don't know. Ravens win today. The tiebreaker in my mind would probably go to the Dolphins. I'd have to look at the tiebreaker situation more in depth, but it looks to me like the first tiebreaker for the wild card. First one is head-to-head, and I don't think they played head-to-head, so they have a better conference record. If anybody has anything, let's mark Robert. It was a place that had a brass pole from floor to ceiling. Well, that would kind of point to a strip club, I guess, Mark. Nightclubs have them to hold the ceiling up, but I can't say that they won't, that it wasn't a strip club. I've seen a lot of nice places with brass poles holding the ceiling up without girls wrapped around them, but I'm probably giving Haskins a little too much credit here. I will let's give Mark Robertshaw his props here, by the way. He is a Dolphins fan and stays true to his team, unlike Sean McGillen. I hope you're here. I wish you were here today, Sean. It doesn't look like you are. So I hate to talk behind your back, but you will. It's not really, since, a gazillion people will see this later, including you, hopefully. Mark is a true Miami fan and does not jump around like others. So congratulations. I think, again, I guess you got a great coach there. Flores is a great coach. He's done a great job with the defense. It's funny, they don't necessarily – I talked about this. I don't know if I've talked about it here. I talked about it in my spots on the Mac and Jack show. The Dolphins are really good in every phase of the game. They don't excel in necessarily anywhere, but they're good at everything. They're good on offense. They're good on defense. They're good on special teams. The special teams is very underrated in this league. Good special teams play gets you a long ways. And they're doing it all. They're doing it well. And I think Brian Flores is probably the coach of the year this year in the NFL. So he's done a great job. And I believe that they do control their own destiny as far as I can tell from looking at it. And it can get a little convoluted when we talk about tiebreakers, but not that we ever been to one, Mark. Where? Oh, fire station. I'm not sure where. I got lost in a conversation here somewhere. Oh, I know what he's talking about now. Not that we've ever been to one of those clubs with the brass poles. I got it. Of course not. My viewers are very upstanding citizens. We only accept those that are pure. God, hope I don't burst into fire here. All right. Let's move on to the north. The Steelers we talked about earlier, they're just imploding. Big Ben can't get the ball down the field. Juju Schuster's busy firing up the other team. The defense is not playing well. Steelers are looking like a one-and-done team in the playoffs. They may not even win the division. They play the Browns, I believe, next week. Last game of the season. Going to be very interesting to see what happens there. The Ravens, we talked about the Browns. The Browns got some problems today with 4 wide receivers out due to COVID. We'll see what happens in that game, but they do have the Jets, so maybe it won't matter. The Ravens, as I said, are starting to play better ball, but they've got an uphill climb here for sure. And then there's the Bengals. Somehow they managed to beat the great Steelers last week, but we won't dive too much into that. The South, the AFC South has really turned into a really good division at the top. Bottom's not so good. The middle's not even any good. I've been trying to kill the Colts all year, and I can't do it. they keep defying me. But I will tell you, I still think the Titans are the best team in that division. Not a big Ryan Tannehill fan. Mark Robertshaw might want to perk up on this topic. Let's put up Billy's prediction, see if he holds true later on. You really don't want Trevor Lawrence, do you? Anyway, maybe Mark is, if Mark's still with us, he wants to comment on Ryan Tannehill. I was never a Ryan Tannehill fan. I thought he had tons of talent, but just never put it together. But he has played very well. And I thought last year was an aberration, and when he got the big contract, he might step back. Well, they still don't ask him to do that much. But he does manage the game. They got the best. They've got the best running game. I mean, Derrick Henry's a monster. A monster. So I put them ahead of the Colts and kind of on the same level as the Bills right now. So I think the Titans will come out of there. The Colts are definitely going to make the playoffs. It's impossible, by the way. The Steelers don't get in at all. If they lose out and lose the division to the Browns, they could possibly be sitting home and not in the playoffs. It's possible. Not probable, but it's possible. In the West, again, it's Kansas City's the whole story. 13-1. They're the prohibitive favorite to win it all in my mind. Certainly the prohibitive favorite in the AFC. Not much to talk about. They had I think it was a really nice victory in New Orleans last week. Not an easy place to play. They played well and came away with the victory. Let's move on to the NFC. The East. Oh, God. The Redskins got a one-game lead over the Cowboys and the Giants. Redskins win today. The Giants lose. It's all over. Redskins win. I have gone out on a limb earlier in the show and said the Redskins will lose both their games. The Giants will lose both their games. And the Cowboys will win both their games and win the division. It's been that kind of year, guys. The Cowboys have been down. The Cowboys have started to play better ball recently. Somebody's got to win that division. Unfortunately, there's a rule in the books that says you have to have a division winner. Let's stop talking about them. I will say, though, you know what? The Eagles are an intriguing. They're not going to win, but you know what? I think Doug Peterson's going to walk away from that job. I think I said Redskins again. Did I? The team formerly known as the Redskins. I'll have one later, Bill. Keep track of me. Let me know how many I got to drink later. Let's just touch on the Eagles situation quickly. I'll go back, talk about the coaches in a second. The Central. There is no Central anymore. The North. Packers got that all wrapped up. They're probably going to wrap up the home field. Assuming they don't. Well, they could still lose it, but I think they'll still wrap up the home field advantage, which will be a huge advantage if the Saints end up having to go there or Tampa Bay ends up having to go there. It's going to be very interesting. And also remember, guys, one bye. No, not two byes anymore. There's only one team getting a bye, and that's the best team in the league. So Kansas City's going to get a well-deserved 3 beers is what I have to have here. But Kansas City's going to get a well-deserved week off before they need to play a game. And then it's one game, and you're in the AFC Championship game. And then the Saints and Packers are battling it out for the NFC right to have that bye. The Bears, by the way, are back in contention here. I wrote them off. I mean, they were off to a strong start, kind of doing it with mirrors, but they're now back in it. Maybe it's only because they played better, but the Cardinals are kind of giving their season away here. Bad loss yesterday to the 49ers. Never really in the game. Just inexcusable with Kittle being back and the running backs for 49ers being healthy. Mostert had just a phenomenal game yesterday. You just can't lose those games, though, not this time of year. December's that's where you have to turn it up, guys. Obviously. I mean, it goes without saying, but I mean, the Patriots for years during their run, December, they owned. That's why. We talked about the Bucs as ready to ship. They're 10-5 in the playoffs for the first time since 2007. We'll see if they can. What's this one here? Bill Pulver. Kansas City changed his name to Chiefs. Chefs to appease the rock. No, here's the thing. Chiefs is not offensive. I don't even know that. I guess Indians is because it was a derogatory term taken from indigenous peoples. But things like Chiefs and Braves, those are not derogatory terms. So they won't be changing their names. But anyway, Falcons might change their name. Oh, God. I don't know. I have look, to me, it's a political football, so I don't talk a lot about these things. I don't know. I don't know any Native American people. I really don't. I don't know how many of them are offended by these names and how many aren't. I know what the news wants me to think, but that's all I know. So I'll leave it at that. You see, and I'm also a person who's offended by nothing other than accusations of Tom Brady being a cheater and a baby. I'm not even offended by that because, it's just a lack of, paying attention to what's going on. See if I can get Billy going here. Oh, sorry, Bill. All right. Chiefs cooking up in the playoffs. Oh, that's a good one, Bill. The chefs cooking up in the playoffs. All right, let's move on. I'm out of the AFC. Got me going backwards. The Seahawks and the Rams still fighting it out for the division. The Rams are going there to play today, and I like the Rams today. The Seahawks, again, they're doing it with Russell Wilson's arm, no defense. The Rams, when they play their game and don't get behind, are better than the Seahawks. And it's quite possible that they're the most balanced team in the NFC altogether, similar to the Dolphins. They don't excel in any one part of the game. They got a really good defense. Their quarterback is really good when you put him in a right position to succeed and not have to make him carry your team. I like the Rams today. I like the Rams to pull out that division. The Seahawks will get a wild card. And the Cardinals, again, I think that's the only spot I believe that's left, again, except for jockeying for position. I think in the NFC East title, that's the spot that's still up in the air. It's going to be I believe it'll be either the Chiefs. Jesus, Bill, you got me talking about the Chiefs. I can't stop. We're going to go back to Mark Robertshaw's comment here in a second about Tannehill, because I did ask him, and he's just put up a comment, which I'll put up in a second, and we'll take a look at it together once I finish this part of my conversation. Don't know where I was. Oh, the playoff spot's still open. I think it's just the NFC East, and I think it's just the Bears and the Cardinals. Everybody else, I believe, is eliminated. So we'll see. I'd asked Mark what his thoughts were on Ryan Tannehill, as he's a big Miami fan, and he spent many years in Miami, as you know. And Mark says, Tanny's getting the job done, solid receivers, and of course that killer running game, as we talked about, helps him immensely. Many more tools than Miami. Well, then, yeah, right. But Miami's obviously got those tools, not similar tools, because they don't have a Derrick Henry, but they got a very complete team. Coaching is, it's funny. I like to. So anyway, his final evaluation here is the coaching has elevated Tanny as well, which I agree with. He's not elite, but a keeper for sure. He's a game manager, right? And it's funny that he brings up Belichick disciple, because we talk about Belichick's coaching tree, which is always important to people. Is great coaches' coaching tree is somehow indicative of how great a coach they were themselves. Bill Walsh. Not Lombardi. Nobody really ever talked about his. This wasn't even a thing when Lombardi was the best. Parcells, Shula, coaching trees. I like to count. He didn't coach for the Patriots, but Vrabel played. He was kind of a coach on the field. So I count him as one of them. Right now, I mean, he's failed. Some of his coaches have not done well, obviously. Romeo Cornellis didn't have success. Charlie Weiss didn't have success. He had immediate success at Notre Dame, but he's failed everywhere since. And even at Notre Dame after that first big year. Who else? The coach who went to the Jets lost his name now. That's how much we remember him. Jet fans will remember him, Billy, but his name has even slipped out of my mind. But there's other guys that are part of his coaching tree that are doing very well. Nick Saban is part of his coaching tree, to be honest with you guys, back in Cleveland. And now he's got coaches doing really well. Joe Judge has got the Giants pointing in the right direction. They're 5-9, guys, but he's got that team and the culture changing there. So he's doing a good job, and he will do a good job. And then Brian Flores, of course, is doing very well in Miami. And Vrabel, I will count as part of that coaching tree, as he was a coach on the oh, gosh, Billy. Sorry, Mark opened the door. So he's part of that coaching tree. What else we got to talk about here in the NFL before we go on? You guys bring up any topics you want to tackle here. I'm going to talk a little bit about coaches. Who's in trouble? Who's in trouble again? Well, this is kind of a weekly thing now, because it changes, it ebb and flows, right? In the AFC East, obviously you're going to have a new owner, a new coach in New York with the Jets. I don't care what the press writes. I don't care how close Adam Gase is with Chris Johnson. He's not coming back, guys. If they do, it's like the worst decision in the history of football. So the Jets really need to do something smart here. Don't bring in outside committees. Don't go outside the organization for help in a coaching search. The Charlie Calories of the world, all these guys who have got a gazillion years in the NFL. Let Joe Douglas pick his own coach. Do something that's very un-Jet-like. I'll say again, you're wrong, Bill. Gase will not stay. If he does, they deserve what they get if he stays. Mark's apologizing now for mentioning the Patriots. I think I kept that pretty short. Go back to Gase. Look, the guy's done a horrendous job. If they keep him, they're crazy, and they need to do something very un-Jet-like and let a general manager pick his own coach. They got a habit of having a coach then hiring a general manager. I think it's happened to the last 3 general managers they've had. They've had a coach foisted on them that they didn't handpick. You let the general manager pick the coach. That's the way it works. That's the way it works effectively in the NFL. If you want to continue down the dysfunctional path that you've been on, have at it. Keep Adam Gase. Or if you don't keep Adam Gase, then bring in outside help to pick the coach, and don't let Joe Douglas pick his own guy. because he's going to not pick his own guy. They're going to, and then he's going to get fired. Just fire him if you don't want him to pick the coach. If you don't trust your GM to pick the coach, why is he there? Anyway. Okay. AFC North, we got any coaches in trouble there? Maybe in Cincinnati. He could be in trouble. Not sure. Taylor, they were very competitive early in the year. He did a great job with Joe Burrow. I don't think he's in trouble, but we'll see. There's some talk that the locker room is not happy with him. Some of the wide receivers, Ross, have been wanting to get traded because he thinks he should be playing. And there's some other talk about upheaval in the locker room there. We'll see. AFC South, probably, well, Jacksonville, again, Doug Marrone should be fired. Whether he will be probably remains to be seen. Because, again, if they end up with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think you want to start with a guy who just went 1-15 or has a track record Doug Marrone has, which is not good. I don't know. Doug Marrone he's had some decent teams, but he's never put it together. He's probably in trouble. And you've got the Texans situation. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe we'll know more here in a few weeks. But their plan originally was to keep Romeo Crennel for another year because of the COVID situation, not being able to bring guys in to interview in person. It was to keep Romeo for a year. And to me, that sounds like a crazy plan. I'm sorry. Because team with Deshaun Watson, Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator of Buffalo, his name's escaping me. These guys are going to be available this year. They're going to get jobs probably this year. I don't think you can just say, well, wait a year and we'll keep Romeo as a placeholder. Not going to happen. And the West, the Chargers are definitely going to fire Anthony Lynn. And again, it's a great job, I think, because you've got a great young quarterback in Herbert there. So that's a great job. Again, that's why I don't think the Texans can sit and wait, because these offensive guys are going to get scooped up this year. There's some really good situations with some really good quarterbacks. The Jets are going to end up with a good young quarterback. Or Darnold. You can keep him. Billy likes him. If they want to dump him, his contract's fairly friendly. He can come to Foxborough, and we'll try to rehabilitate him. Chargers are going to change coaches, as I said. Otherwise, I don't think you'll see any changes there. Gruden's not going to be in trouble. They owe him too much money. Yes, Brian Dobby, thank you for that, Rick Sherlock. He's done a great job there in Buffalo. Done a great job with Josh Allen. That guy has matured so much in the last 3 years. I just love watching him play. I hate to talk nicely about the Bills, but he's done a great job there. NFC East, Ron Rivera is not going to lose his job. He's done a great job with what he's had to work with there, and the turmoil that's gone on there with the front office. And Dan Snyder is now suing his partners for trying to extort him, and there's still rumors of other stuff that's gone on outside of what's already come to light about sexual harassment that doesn't include Daniel Snyder. But it's just been a circus there. And then you got the whole Haskins thing, it not working out. But he'll keep his job. I don't see the Cowboys cutting bait with McCarthy after 1 year. Giants obviously are solid. I do think you'll see a change in Philadelphia. I think Peterson will leave of his own accord. And he'll probably, if he does, unless he doesn't want to coach next year, he'll get a job right away. I think so. Put the wrong mouse here. So that's the coaching situation in the East. In the North, I still want to say the Central. Did I say Redskins again, by the way, Bill? I may be up to 4. Team formerly known as the Redskins. NFC North, I do think that Nagy's going to get fired in Chicago, although Mitchell Trubisky might be saving his job. Not sure. I like Mitchell Trubisky. He's a free agent after the year. His rookie contract's up. I think he's unrestricted. and I like him. He's a guy I would love to see again try to rehabilitate. But it's possible if they slide into the playoffs here, finish 9-7, get in the playoffs, maybe win a game, then Nagy saves his job and Trubisky is still the quarterback. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think Foles will be back there. I think you may see him end up back in Philadelphia, the only place he really has any success. Oh, twice. Man, up to 5. I don't drink on Sundays unless I'm out watching football. Not a home drinker. At least not alone. The Vikings probably we'll let Rick Sherlock make a comment here, I guess, about what he'd like. I think he wants to keep his coach. Zimmer will probably get a pass here because of the whole situation the league's been in this year, and the fact that he's had some success in the past. I'll put up Billy's question. We'll cover this in a second. Let me finish this topic here real quick, Billy, and we'll get to that. Zimmer, I think, is on the borderline. But he'll probably keep his job. I think he'll get a pass. So let's see if Rick has an opinion on whether he'd like him to stay or not. The Lions will be looking for a coach. Obviously, their interim, one of Rick Sherlock's favorites, Darren Bevel, will be out today with COVID. We do hope he's okay, but he will not be coaching. So there'll be an interim for the interim coach today, and they'll be looking for a head coach. In the South, Tampa Bay is a wild card, guys. I've said it before here. If they're one and done in the playoffs, it's quite possible Arians either gets a push or walks away. It's possible. Or Tom Brady may retire and Arians stays, but then he's got to start over because he doesn't have a quarterback. So it'd be very interesting. He'll probably come back. And they could make a run deep into the playoffs here. I don't know. They're two different teams. You don't know who's going to show up. The Falcons have an attractive job because they've got a quarterback if they decide to keep him. They've got talent at skill positions, at least the wide receivers. They need some help at running back. Gurley has been benched. He's not the answer. Sadly, his career is about over. We'll go back to Zimmer for a second. Rick thinks he gets a pass with the injuries. Special teams coach and defensive coordinator have to go. Yeah, I mean, you do run into trouble there too, though. Rick, when you're telling unless the head coach makes that decision on his own, there's been a lot of times where front offices have said, "You want to keep your job, you're firing so and so." And to me, the guys with really high integrity say no, and they get fired. If he's making that decision on his own, then yes. Billy's talked about too many coaching changes. They should get 3-year terms. Well, they get 3-year contracts. John Gruden got a 10-year contract. Doesn't guarantee you anything. It's a win-now league. You can't come in here and have a 5-year plan anymore. Just doesn't happen. And I don't think the guys we're talking about getting fired, Bill, all have had their 3 years, by the way. There's not a guy I talked about losing his job that hasn't had at least 3 years in his position. I don't think. Except the interim guys, of course. Who else? So the Falcons I think the Falcons is an interesting coaching position. Raheem Morris will be he'll get an interview. They've done better since he took over, till recently. But they've actually are 4-10 and they've scored more points than they've given up, which is kind of amazing when you think about it. And they continue to have fourth quarter meltdowns. The Panthers are not changing coaches, obviously. I think you guys know from watching me, I love Matt Rule. I love that hiring. I love what he's doing there. They've had a tough year this year, but they've been in every game almost that they've lost. They've had a couple of blowouts, but they've been in a lot of games. Billy mentions Gase. Well, Gase got 2 years, and that's a different situation. You don't go 1-15 probably and keep your job. I can't think of too many coaches who've gone 1-15 and keep your job. I sat through a 1-15 season in Foxborough, and the coach didn't keep his job. The Jets had a 1-15 season with Rich Kotite. What happened? Lost his job. 2 years. 2 years. Who would they hire, Bill? Who would they hire to replace Rich Kotite? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think they did hire him to replace Kotite. I think they hired him to replace Pete Carroll. Anyway, you want to keep Rich Kotite after his tenure with the Jets? I doubt it. And in the West, we got, do we have any changes potentially there? It's doubtful, very doubtful. Carroll's not going anywhere. McVay's not going anywhere. Good grief, the Cardinal coach's name has escaped me now. He's not going anywhere. And obviously Shanahan's not going anywhere. So there you got it. I mean, yes, there's always coaching changes, Bill. And, there's going to be. It's just the nature of the game. It's a win-now league. You can't have a 5-year plan. You're going to have a 3-year plan. You won't get fired after 2 years unless you're totally inept. And Adam Gase is. Mark Robichaud, speak up again. He was your coach for 2 years. There's a reason he got fired in Miami. Some guys are just better coordinators. It's just what it is. It's okay. He's going to make a bunch of money somewhere. Maybe not next year. Maybe he's got to take a year off. He'll come back. He'll be an offensive coordinator somewhere, and he'll make a bunch of money. Feel sorry for Adam Gase. He's a bad fit for the job to begin with. Shouldn't have got the job. I need a new chart for coaches. So Billy had asked, since we're on the topic of playoffs and coaches and whatever else, will there be fans at the Super Bowl? I believe there will be fans on a limited basis at the Super Bowl. There's been talk, which is probably kind of crazy, to be honest with you, about taking, theoretically they could, if not fill the stadium, then put a significant number of people in it by taking people who have been vaccinated and allowing them to go to the game. Well, I don't know how that's going to work. The people that are unvaccinated are not going to be able to afford to go to the Super Bowl. Being as you can't have fans anyway, here's what I think. They should take the people who have been vaccinated and send them there for free. You're not going to have fans anyway. Take some of these nurses and doctors and the people who have been on the front lines of this whole COVID fight and put their lives at risk day in and day out and send them there for free. They can't charge. If nobody's going to be there anyway, what's the difference? But I don't know. You'll probably see some fans there. It's in Tampa, right? Who knows? I mean, Florida's been a hotbed, obviously, for the COVID situation, and it's probably going to be about the time of the Super Bowl is when we're really going to be hitting another high water mark after the Christmas and New Year's holidays. So I don't know. They probably shouldn't have fans, but if they're going to, I would say take these people, fill the stadium with people that have been vaccinated and deserve a little prize, like the first responders and the frontliners. No, not expose the frontliners, Bill. Everybody there will have been vaccinated. That's just my thought. Again, it's not going to happen. Just if you want to repay these guys in some tiny little way for risking their lives every day, they're going to be vaccinated. They're going to be, if the vaccines work, they'll be fine. Except for the travel, of course. But I guess you could probably, I'm sure you could find 50,000 people in Florida that don't have to do anything but drive to the stadium that are nurses and doctors and first responders. So that's just me. Oh, well, it's a Jets hour. I missed this one, Bill. And 95% effective. I know it is. We'll see. We don't know how long, though. So I'm not going to get into a COVID conversation here. I was just giving you my 2 cents here, but Billy put up a funny. I missed this one when I was talking about the Jets. I could talk about the Jets for 2 hours too. Different reasons though. What else, guys? What other topics you want to cover? Let's look at the games from the other day. Hold on. Let's look at the games from yesterday and Christmas Day. And see how they kind of play into what went on here. And we'll be jumping to our picks here very shortly. If Mark's still here and you want to join in today, you feel right at home doing so. So we've had the okay. How come I don't have the scores from? Oh, there we go. So the game so far, the Saints 52-33 over the Vikings. I backs up Rick's comment about the defensive coordinator. 52 points to a banged up Saints offense. No excuse. I'll put that up, Bill. That's the only statement. That's the only political statement I'll allow. Unfortunately, it is a political topic. It shouldn't be, but it is. Buccaneers roll 47-7 over the Lions. Oh, yeah, right. I said Bevel was out with COVID, but he was already out yesterday. Sorry. 49ers beat the Cardinals. Bad loss for the Cardinals. The 49ers, they've got some people back, but they don't even have a quarterback. Oh, my gosh. And they're talking about not bringing back Jimmy G? How? I can skip yesterday's games. I got to talk about the Dolphin game quick, though. Good grief. John Gruden. If he didn't have a 10-year contract, he'd probably be getting fired. I guess we're talking about the Vikings here. Rick saying most given up since 1963, 52 points. Not a good showing there. I think they were, they weren't really in a game at halftime, 24-14, but things really got out of hand, in the fourth quarter. So anyway, Dolphins and Raiders. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We'll talk about it. Oh, hold on, guys. It wasn't quite. These guys. These stupid ads will pop up on me every once in a while. Only positive thing I have for Gaze is that his first name is Adam and the same as my son. Well, there you go. There's a guy whose team gave him 2 years too. Probably 2 years too many, as it turned out. So anyway, back to the Dolphins and the Raiders game. Gruden just gift wrapped that for the Dolphins. Not that they didn't deserve to win. They've got a really good football team. I'm glad to see them doing better. But you can't. You got to score a touchdown there and make them score a touchdown. You can't just kick a field goal. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, I will touch on the Pro Bowl teams were announced today, and nobody cares. Or not today, but this week. Nobody cares. There's not going to be a game, which, guess what? There shouldn't be. The game's turned into a joke. They actually used to play a real football game, if you guys would remember. Everybody here is my age. They used to play a real football game for the Pro Bowl. They don't anymore. They just name a team, and maybe this will be it going forward. They're not going to play because of COVID. But just don't play. Name a team if you want, but don't play a game. It's a joke. What didn't I cover? Anything I missed I want to chat about? I always miss something because I get going on a roll here. I guess we're done. I do have Drew's picks. We'll move on to our picks. I want to remind you guys, you weren't on earlier, just real quick, we're going to be joining a network, for lack of a better term, called Northeast Streaming Sports. There's a few other, let's see if I can pull it up quickly with the other. Should have left this up, I guess. So we'll be joining a Northeast Streaming Sports, as I said. Basically a network of sports shows. This was the brainstorm of Mac from Mac and Jack Sports, who I guest on every Friday. For 20, 30 minutes, we talk about the Patriots and Knicks and just, sports in general. But Matt came up with this brainstorm to kind of have a place. Nothing's going to change with my show. It's still going to be on TGI Sports Talk. I'll share it to the same places I do normally, but we'll also have Northeast Streaming Sports, which we'll share to this page, the show, and there'll be other shows there. There'll be a show called The Safety and the Sports Writer. It's out of Connecticut. Pop Culture Pros. Fantasy Football Face-Off. If you're a fantasy football player, you might want to pay attention to that. Four Stripes on Ice. Brett Cloutier. I know you're probably not listening right now, but you'll be maybe listening later. You say, I don't talk enough hockey. I will do my best to talk hockey once we have a hockey season. And but this show is geared around hockey. Of course, there's the Mac and Jack Sports Show, and then Sports Scope. And there'll be others that are going to join this as well. So if you like this show and you like watching streaming sportscasts, check it out. I think it'll be fun. It's going to be a fun venture. Who knows? I'm doing this for fun, guys. I hope you know that. Not making any money. I haven't worked on getting sponsors. I work on getting views so that maybe Facebook will pick. Facebook does a great job of sharing it once I do some sharing. But I got a real job. I plan on continuing that real job until they don't want me anymore. But if something comes of this and we're able to monetize it, then great. I actually found my podcast. So all these shows, by the way, I download them all. I put them all on a podcast site called Podbean. It ends up on Spotify. I'm going to have it. It'll be on iTunes shortly. Now that I've gotten figured out my whole iTunes account again, because I'm not an Apple user, but I got an Apple TV hookup for Christmas, so I've had to reboot my accounts with Apple. So we'll be sharing it to iTunes, but it also shows up on Amazon. I have no idea how it gets there. If you go to Amazon and Google TGI Sports Talk, you're going to get the podcast version, and it's free. You can download it, you can watch it, listen to it if you ever need to do it at a different time. Well, and who knows? Maybe I can find a way to monetize that. I don't know. Will people pay $1 to download my show? I don't know. I'm not sure how to even do it if I can. And Billy says I'm doing a great job. I appreciate that, Bill. I just do this, as I said, I'm doing it for fun. We have some fun. I hope you guys have some fun. I have a lot of fun doing it. I like to share my thoughts. Never had a vehicle to do it. You guys that come live, I thank you for it. I thank the people that watch it afterwards. Sometimes it's 300, 400. Sometimes it's 3,000. The interview shows have done very well. I think some of the earlier shows I've done are closing in on 10,000 views. And they average probably 3,000, 4,000 views, no matter who it is. And they watch for free beer. Only the players in the football pick'em will get free beers. Just an FYI. Oh, the TV remote fell apart. All right, guys. Got anything else you want to chat about? Talk about it now or forever hold your peace. I have a blast with you guys. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to our weekly NFL pick'ems. Last week, Billy had one of the better weeks we've had this year. 9-5-2. Great job, Bill. I should have put this in the chat so I could show it, but I can't right now. But Billy, 9-5-2. Great job last week. Followed closely by Rick and Drew at 8-6-2. Good job, guys. Especially considering some of the other results we've all had. And I guess I have to mention TGI Sports Talk. I wonder if I say that because I'm trying to subconsciously hide behind that for my picks. Anyway, TGI Sports Talk was 6-8-2 on the season. 99, 118, and 7. Yikes. Horrible year. Fortunately, in the cigar box, we've had a much better year than that. We're in a minus, but only a little tiny bit. And we're going to get out of it maybe this week. 1-1 yesterday, guys. I was on, I took the Cardinals. God, I wanted to bet the Bucks, and I just was afraid of 10 points on the road. 9.5 points on the road. So I took the Billy. Anyway, Billy, great week last week. So yesterday I was on, as far as the wagering portion, the real portion, I was on the Cardinals. Should have been on the Bucks. And I had the over in the Coastal Carolina Liberty game. So we split yesterday. Not a bad day. We lose to Vig. That's it. Billy gets his points mixed up. Did you have yourself losing last week, Bill? You actually did very well. All right, you guys ready for this week? Mark, if you want to join in, you're more than welcome. I do have Drew's picks, guys. I'll add them later. Well, since Drew may watch this, let me see if I can. Let's see if I can keep up with this as we go along here. So the first game we'll talk about here, we've already got 4 games under our belt. Rick's 2-2, Drew's 2-2, Keith's 3-1, Billy's 2-2 on the games that have already been played. Chucky steadfastly stood by his decision during his post game. 19 seconds and no timeouts. 99% of the time it works. I believe I heard favorites only covering at 44%. Yeah, I think that's probably true, Mark, by the way. I've been on too many favorites in this portion of the show, that's for sure. Chucky's a knucklehead. You still got to score a touchdown there in my mind. First game on our books for today. Again, Mark, if you want to participate, I will add a column for you guys, for him. And then, Mark, you would be invited to the BJ's Drink Fest happy hour, which Keith will probably be buying because he's lost the most weeks. All right, so game number 1 today. The Colts at the Steelers, -1.5. Hard to believe they're giving 1.5 after Steelers being 11-0. But Big Ben is struggling. I just can't see the Steelers playing a 4th game in a row as bad as they've been playing it. They're on a short week, but I'm going to take the Steelers. I just like home dogs when I can get them, and they got to be a live home dog here. So I will be on the Steelers +1.5. Again, that's the Colts at the Steelers -1.5. I'll talk a little bit about more of the game while you guys make your picks. The Colts have really surprised me, by the way. Billy's on the Steelers. The Colts have really surprised me. I pick against them. I write them off for dead every week. Rick's on the Steelers. And they just keep winning. And let's see. Drew's got the Colts. And Mark is in. Mark is in. I got to find a place to write you in here. Hold on, Mark. I'll write you at the bottom. Mark. Colts. All right. Next game. Come on. Got to grab the right mouse, guys. Got 2 mouses going here. Titans at the Packers. Really good football game. Not, interconference game. Late in the year, you often see a lot of division or at least conference games. 8:20 tonight. The Packers are a 3.5-point favorite at home against the Titans. I am going to take the Titans tonight. I don't think the cold weather, depending on what weather is in Green. Steelers do have points. Yes, 1.5, Bill. I'm taking the Titans plus 3.5 here. I'm going to say Drew's also got the Titans plus the points. I like the Titans game. It's made for Green Bay. It's made for Lambeau Field. So I'm waiting on your guys' picks here. I'm on the Titans. Drew's on the Titans. Billy's on the Packers. Mark's on the Titans. And Rick, we need your pick. He's got the Titans. Billy's alone on an island here again in this game. Another intriguing matchup. Should be a game we get here, I think, locally. The Rams at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 1.5-point favorites at home. I got to tell you, we talked about this earlier, guys. I think the Rams are the most well-rounded team in the NFC. When they put it together, they are, I think, the best team in the NFC. They've had too many down games. I get it. This is a big game for them. I'm on the Rams. So all of a sudden, I'm on all the dogs here. I'm taking the Rams plus the 1.5. I think they will win the game, obviously. Again, Seahawks are tough at home. No fans kind of mitigates that a little bit. But the Seahawks, they're doing it with mirrors, man. They don't have a defense at all. Billy's got Seattle. I should have written that one in already. Mark's got Seattle. By the way, Drew's got Seattle. And Rick's got the Rams. All right, excellent. Moving on. Game here. The Falcons at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 10.5-point favorite. Falcons, as I said earlier, have played better. Kept it close in a couple of games. Won a couple of games with Raheem Morris. Still not playing well in the fourth quarter. 10.5. Kansas City, again, they still got to wrap up that bye, but I've said all along, boredom is their biggest enemy. I'm going to take the points again. Nah, change my mind. I'm on the Chiefs, minus 10.5. I've been on Atlanta. I can't bet Atlanta. They kill me all the time. Chiefs for Rick. Drew has I believe he has nope. Drew's got the Falcons and the points. Billy's got the Chiefs. And Mark Robertshaw has got the Falcons. Or I should say the Dirty Birds. Mark's doing everything he can to get himself some screen time here today. By the way, before football season's over, we should have one of you guys come in and do the picks live with me on the show. You can do that easily. I just send you a link in your email and you're in here live. I can bring as many as 2 of you in. We should do that. Maybe we get to the playoffs. We'll have a playoff show and we'll bring a couple guys in for a little debate. Even though none of our teams will be there except one of Billy's teams. But then Billy has, 5 teams. So anyway, got off topic a little bit. Falcons for Mr. Robertshaw. That game's been played. That game's been played. That game's been played. I don't miss one here. All right. Giants at the Ravens. The Ravens are minus 11. The Giants, Daniel Jones still banged up. Danny Nichols. Come on, that's got to be for you, Mark. Just mention the Patriots and you're in. Mark is no Patriot fan. Oh my gosh. Where were we? Ravens and Giants. Ravens are minus 11. This could be a comical mismatch, but I think by the time it gets over, I got to lay the wood here. The Ravens minus 11. Billy's on the Giants. Drew is on the Ravens. Waiting on Rick and Mark to make their picks in this game. Guys, this looks like a huge mismatch to me. I think the Giants, I said earlier, I think the Giants are going to lose out. Mark's on the Ravens. I just don't. I think they lose out. I think the team formerly known as the Redskins, I did it right that time, Bill, are going to lose out. Everybody's got the Ravens except Billy. Again, on an island. The lone wolf, he loves to be called. Billy, the lone wolf Pulver. Carolina at the team formerly known as the Redskins. The footballers are minus 2.5. I've already said they're going to lose out, so I am all over the Panthers in this game. Lots of dogs for Keith. I'm on the Panthers plus 2.5. Love their coach. Like what he's done with the offense. They've lost a lot of tough football games. I don't like what's going on in Washington right now, quarterback-wise. 11 points? No, Bill. 2.5. Oh, you're talking about the Giants? Oh, 11 points. Well, I got you. You're behind the picks here, Bill. The football team. Mark's being very creative today. Mark wants to keep seeing his name get on the screen here. Football team. Oh, gosh. Rick's got Washington. Let's see who Drew's got while I'm waiting for Billy. Drew has the Panthers. And Billy's got the Washington Ed-Ups. I'm not sure what that means. But I'll put it up for you anyway. Next game, Cleveland at the Jets. This game is now 7-point spread with the Browns missing half their almost all their wide receivers. So we'll see what happens there. Jets, again, the fans don't want to win a game, but the players do, and there's a chance that the Jets could, inconceivably enough, win a second game in a row. I don't think so. I'll be on the Browns minus 7. Oh, washed. Nice. Mark's on the Jets. I know Billy's on the Jets. Who does Helen have? I'll put it up in case. Oops, where is it? What does Ellen have? I don't know. Drew didn't tell me which one of his picks Ellen was on today. Browns for Rick. Jets for Billy. Did I say who? Actually, Drew switched his pick. Just an FYI. Drew had sent me. He's in New Jersey seeing his kids for the holidays. He'll be heading home today, but he had sent me his picks earlier in the week, and he texted me today to change his pick to the Jets from the Browns. So we'll see if that comes back to bite him. The next game. Where are we? Moving on. Bears at the Jaguars. The Bears have won a couple in a row here. The Jaguars have stayed in some games I was surprised about. The Bears are a 7.5-point favorite on the road. And you know what, Mark, to go back to your comment earlier about you had seen that the favorites were 44% winners this year. It could be because I've never in my life seen so many road favorites, especially, touchdown or better road favorites. Interesting. It matters. This game matters a lot to the Bears, as I said, and maybe yesterday's game gives them some extra motivation that they may not normally have had. And I'm not sure which way to go here. That's a lot of points on the road, but I'm gonna do something stupid and take the Bears. Rick's got the Bears. Mark's on the Jaguars. Doug Marrone trying to save his job and gets Trevor Lawrence all at the same time. Billy, we need your pick. And Drew is on. I can't find Drew's pick. The Bears. Billy's on the Bear Lights. Bear Lease, whatever that is. Bear Lease. Bears. Okay, Sunday's games that don't matter. Actually, they do. Eagles at the Cowboys. The Eagles somehow are a 2.5-point favorite here on the road against the Cowboys. The Cowboys still have some talent. I think they're more talented than the Eagles. I don't think Jalen Hurts. He played well. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the answer here in Philadelphia. They got some issues at quarterback. I don't want to get into quarterbacks and mess up. I don't know about home field. You know, again, there's some home field advantage of Rick, because you don't have to travel, and you still have the west to east thing too, which I don't think came into play in any of these games so far. Anyway, there's certainly less of a home field advantage for sure. But regardless, Philadelphia had to travel to Dallas, and traveling is not fun these days. So I think there's some advantage. I'm on the Cowboys. As you know, I have already predicted the Cowboys will win out and win that division. They're getting 2.5 points at home. Rick's on the Cowboys. Dead air. Mark gets the Cowboys. And Billy is on the Eagles. And let's check Drew's pick and see if he's all alone. You are the lone wolf again, William Pulver. So you may beat us all badly or win again. Eagles are giving 2.5 points, Bill. Eagles don't have points. They are giving 2.5 points. So you don't know whether you won or lost, man. All right, Broncos at the Chargers. There's a game nobody cares about. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. You know, there is some hope for both of these teams. I think Locke is a pretty good quarterback for the Broncos. I think he's going to have a future. He's not as good as Herbert right now, but that's all you got going in this game to watch. I mean, toss a coin. I'll take the Chargers minus the 3.5. Maybe a little going away present for Anthony Lynn. Rick's on the Chargers. Drew's on the Chargers. Waiting on Billy and Mark to make their selections here. Don't overanalyze this game, I would say, guys. That'd be my guess. Chargers for Mark, and a Chargers for Billy. Well, we're all first time I think today we're all on the same team. And I guess, I almost missed one game. Bengals at the Texans. The Texans are an 8-point favorite. Somebody's got to win this game. I cannot see. I think Bengals played their Super Bowl last week. So I'm going to have to take the Texans, even though I don't like laying 8 points. With this team, I'll do it. They've got the better they've got a great quarterback. They've got a better team all around than the Bengals. The Bengals are coming off a short week and a big victory. To me, it all adds up to a fairly easy win for the Texans. We'll see. Rick's got the Texans. Drew has the Texans. Billy will take the Bengals. And Mark, we're waiting on your pick. Deshaun Watson's a great player, guys. He deserves better than what he's getting here. Bengals for Mark Robertshaw. Now we get to the game of the week. Monday night. We're doing the Bills right now, Bill. The Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. The Bills are a 7-point favorite. I don't remember, maybe in the year 2000, I do not remember the Patriots ever being a touchdown underdog at home. The Bills are playing great ball. The Bills theoretically still have a shot at the number one spot. There are 2 games behind Kansas City. It's not going to happen. So the Bills don't have a lot to play for, and they may start to sit some guys down here in the second half. It's possible. Yes, welcome aboard, Bill Mark Robertshaw, by the way, to the pick wagon. Thank you for pointing that out, Rick. And it's funny that I do any analyzing of this game for you guys because I'm going to take the Patriots anyway. Patriots +7. So the faster you make your pick, the faster I'll start talking about the Patriots, Bill. That is a hard pick. It is. I'll tell you what. You don't know. Obviously, the Bills are this year are a much better team than the Patriots. There's not a facet of the game outside of maybe special teams that the Patriots would have an advantage. The Bills have an advantage when the Patriots run the ball. They have an advantage when the Patriots throw the ball. They have an advantage when they run the ball. They have an advantage when they throw the ball. Special teams is the only thing the Patriots have going for them, but the Patriots might have the advantage of the Bills trying to give some guys a little bit of rest. We'll see. Bills are circling the wagons. Well, they're not really circling the wagons. They've got the wagons going full bore. Mark's on the Patriots. Welcome aboard for sure, Mark. Billy can't do it. He's got the Bills. And Drew has the Bills as well, by the way. So that's it, guys. Mark, do me a favor. I guess what I'll do for you, post it in the room here before you go. We don't usually have a 4-game honor system, but we had an honor system for the Thursday night most of the time. I'll put you on the honor system for our games. Jot this down quickly. The Saints were 7.5. The Bucks were 9.5. The Cards were 5. The Raiders were 3. The Dolphins were 3-point favorites. You can put your picks for those 4 games in here, and we'll put you on the honor system for this week. Welcome aboard to the Pick Show. And Mark, you will now be eligible to join us when we do get out to have our TGI Sports Talk happy hour at BJ's. It may be a month or so away yet, but we'll see. The Bills deliver a message. Mark was 0-4. We're going to give Mark the benefit of doubt. A trustworthy man. He's an umpire, for crying out loud. Umpires for little kids. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So, guys, it's going to be an exciting weekend, I think, in football. Mark, again, if you'll post your picks here or send me a message if you don't get them in before I end the show, which is going to be in just a few minutes, guys. I want to thank you. We're getting to the end of football season, but we're not ending this Sunday show with football ending, college and pro. We'll carry it on. If you guys, hopefully you guys have some interest in the college basketball season, which has been in quite disarray so far. And we'll be talking about baseball very shortly. We'll include some NBA just because it's kind of a rule. I've got some groups that I belong to that I want to have some content to put there. Maybe I break the shows up a little bit. I'm not sure. Do an hour on Saturday, an hour on Sunday. I don't know. It depends. Again, I got to fit the real world into this world as well. I have a blast with you guys every Sunday. Watch if you guys aren't watching and you can't watch live. I understand it, but I hope you do tune into the radio show, the interview show on Fridays. My last guest was Todd Stottlemyre. It was a great interview. He's a great guy, inspirational guy. Go look for his book. It's available, I think, tomorrow. The Observer. He also has another great book called Relentless Success. Just a great attitude on life. A great conversation about how you can easily turn your life around. If I'm not saying anybody here needs to turn their life around, but man, there's days where you just need a little positive reinforcement. Check out Todd's page and the little 1-minute videos he posts. Gosh, man, they're so inspiring. They really are. Mark was 2-2. All right, we'll leave that as such. I'll just put in 2-2 early games. Anyway, guys, my guests will be on. I'll be on live Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time with Dr. Lloyd Walton. You'll see a promo come up very soon. Lloyd Walton was a All-American guard from Marquette in the 70s, mid-70s, under the legendary Al McGuire. Played in the NBA. He's a huge part of the NBA Players Association right now, working with the players. And he'll be my guest on Friday, January 1st at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Rick is asking, any luck with number 44? No, I'm still working on Chuck Foreman, but I'm confident, guys. I got some great guests coming up here soon. As I mentioned, in January, I've got Lloyd Walton. I've got Hal McCoy, who covered the Cincinnati Reds for 40 years. I've got Ed Lynch, former Met pitcher Ed Lynch. Mark Robertshaw, I think, is a Met fan. You ought to recognize that name. I've also got, who else? Eric Soderholm, former player in the 70s. I'm working on Doug DeCinces. I'm working on Chuck Foreman. 2021 is going to be a great year for me, for TGI Sports, and hopefully for you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you watching it later on, whoever does that. Have a great Sunday. The sun's coming out here in East Greenbush. It's going to be a beautiful day. Lots of good football. Let's have some fun. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for joining us, Picking Mark. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk. Enjoy your weekend.